everybody, and welcome to my Flosstube. My name is Aneta and I am the owner of Cross-Stitch Vienna, a Gothic cross-stitch pattern store. It's been a minute. I was supposed to do a Flosstube 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. I don't know. But it didn't happen. I was feeling very lazy. I couldn't be bothered. That's the truth. I was fully in a holiday mode. I wasn't really checking my email. I wasn't checking social media much these days. And I was primarily on Discord. So I've decided I'm not going to record a Flosstube and torture myself because I was just not feeling it. Besides, at the time, I did not really have much to talk about because I was test stitching one design, actually no, 2 designs, and they were taking me a bit longer than I had anticipated. I always planned these designs to take way less time because I don't factor in moments of just being too tired to stitch. In my head, I stitch every day and then I complete things super quick, which is not the case and also not the point because stressing about cross stitch is just completely the opposite of what this hobby should be about. Yeah. Today's Flosstube, it's the last Flosstube of 2025. I can't believe it's almost 2026. Time really flies. I was doing some reflecting. I posted an art versus artist wrap up on my Instagram and Facebook. This year actually was really eventful, considering half of it or 2/3 of it were spent writing and reading and reviewing and rewriting. I still posted a lot of cross-stitch designs. Now when I think about it, it's pretty obvious that I was using cross-stitch designing as a creative retreat. And I still stressed myself enough and managed to publish a lot of new designs and also launched my Facebook group and Discord server for tier 3 customers, and I feel like I have a good foundation for next year to build upon that. I keep reminding myself, I keep telling other people this is not my main job, so I do Cross-Stitch Vienna part-time, or rather whenever I have time after my proper day job allows me, and actually considerably I do dedicate a lot of time to cross-stitch because of researching chart ideas and also doing making improvements to the websites and doing marketing for Cross-Stitch Vienna, because a lot of sales come from constantly putting the pictures of my product in front of other people. So next year, maybe as a way of reflection, I think I found a good way to work with Cross-Stitch Vienna alongside other things that I have planned for myself to make it sustainable and to prevent feeling burned out or tired of it, like a lot of people unfortunately do. I think with many creative outlets, many creative businesses, you want to do a lot because you have all of these ideas, and then eventually you push yourself so much that it does end up in burnout. I wrote about it on my website because it was a pretty common phenomenon, especially like this year. I noticed that a lot. Designers taking a break because they were feeling just overwhelmed, which is good because you should take a break if you feel that you need it. But it's sad to see talented designers basically quit completely because they think that taking a break is just not enough at a certain stage when you reach a level of tiredness where you just do not see yourself continuing. So I wish for myself and for other people to take their time. And Cross-Stitch Vienna, it's in a way that I've been doing it now, I feel like it's really sustainable for me and still brings me so much joy and makes my creative endeavors really exciting. I think it's really worthwhile to see, like, to test different things and see what works for you. And just decide on a path and stick to it and not let other people's ways of doing things influence you. Like, I tend to really choose my own path, and like, I'm not particularly bothered by what other people are doing. I do find inspiration in people that tend to be innovative and do things with confidence and a lot of heart. So they inspire me, but I'm the one that sets the pace for my business. And in 2026, as you know, the era of dark folklore, I cannot say this word, dark folklore. I've watched and listened to so many different dark folklore resources, and this still keeps happening. It's a hard word. It is a hard word. So the era of dark folklore continues for Cross-Stitch Vienna in 2026. I have been watching so many movies, doing researches, surprisingly, well, maybe not surprisingly, like, it's just something that I had not come across before, but there are a lot of academic articles about folklore and the meaning of the darker stories that our forefathers and foremothers used to tell. And I'm very excited about exploring these themes and also about showing you these different themes. And I am also particularly happy about the fact that I've decided to dig into Slavic folklore. I feel like it's just many urban myths, especially ones that came from America. They have just been done so many times. And it's not just about novelty, but also about exploring something that I feel connected to and experienced myself. The stories that I come across, like, they really sound familiar, and I find myself remembering snippets of conversations or something my grandma used to say or a neighbor, and the puzzles keep falling into the right place, and remembering that Slavic mythology and also the countryside had so many different stories that just wove themselves into the daily life. I wrote about this in the Dark Folklore article that licho, which is the personification of bad luck, used to be something that people, like even I said, it was just part of common daily expressions, or closing windows at certain times, or not, or making sure that the threshold of the front door is kept clean because it kept the bad energy at bay. Like the door threshold was an important point, barrier in many of the dark folklore stories. And what's really interesting as well about Slavic folklore is that nature that plays a huge part in dark folklore, from Poland, from Belarus, from Russia, from Ukraine, Lithuania, Latvia. It can be dangerous, but it can also save you depending on your attitude. It really is a common thread. in dark folklore stories that being kind, being good, being helpful, especially towards your elders, being respectful, make sure that not only you will not get annihilated, but you also will get rewarded by an entity. So I'm very, very excited to explore the topic, different topics, and I've listened to so many podcasts and audiobooks, and I cannot get enough. I watched a very interesting documentary just yesterday, which tells a very comprehensive story of dark folklore in movies, in European movies, in American movies, in Asian movies, where dark folklore really is part of any fantasy storytelling, because their culture is so rich with stories of ghosts or apparitions that guide people through their lives and make sure that people stay on the right path, whatever the right path is, culturally. So I recommend watching this movie if you are interested. It's quite long, actually. I remember sitting there and watching for quite some time, but it's very comprehensive, extremely comprehensive. Yeah. So today, that was a bit of a reflection about my plans for next year. In terms of how that will look in practice, so my plan is to release at least one new design per month. I still test stitch all of my designs, so I mean, if it's something bigger, I will probably take a little bit longer. But I do want to focus on this particular topic of dark folklore and release even a small monochrome design every month, just kind of like keep the momentum going. I don't really have bigger plans for Cross-Stitch Vienna. I feel like like I mentioned earlier, the foundations of the more community-focused brand were laid this year with the Facebook group and Discord server, and I will just see where it takes me. I am very, very, very excited about the concept of just having a small community. Like, I do not thrive in large groups, and I don't actually like that too much. So I do look forward to having a small but lively community. So the reflections were kind of done. One of the other things that I was actually thinking about is the best moments of Cross-Stitch Vienna, specifically from 2025. There were so many, honestly, so many. I did share some highlights in the art versus artist roundup, so almost 1,000 sales. I think it's a pretty good result for 1 year, because Cross-Stitch Vienna store opened November last year, so it was already an entire full year in November this year. I really, one of the highlights was going to my first ever cross-stitch retreat. I really like it. I like the concept of meeting people. I learned a lot. I was convinced to buy a lot of cool things. I also loved seeing how other people approach cross-stitch and how they think about it, and what tools they use and the designers they like. It was very refreshing to meet people that love cross-stitch, and they came with like huge bags filled with supplies, and I just felt really among my people. And I would love to go to another cross-stitch retreat. probably also in England. I don't know when exactly, but this May retreat was definitely a huge highlight. The second highlight for Cross-Stitch Vienna this year, I'm going to say launching a Flosstube, because it's something completely new. So from overcoming the hesitation or reluctance to film myself, to reading up about the equipment that is useful for YouTubers and how to record yourself and how to edit audio. The audio was a big headache for me in the beginning, and yeah, so that was kind of like a new path, a new experience point for me in this creative journey and also this digital marketing journey, because video content is not something that I produced a lot of. And now I feel like I've actually upgraded my skills considerably, considering how long it takes me to edit and how I approach the whole editing style. I have received comments from people saying that they really, really like how I edit my videos, that they are funny, that they would like some tips. The only tip that I can give you, I mean, aside from learning certain tools that will help you, like professional video editing tools, the other, or maybe the first most important tip, is to watch other people's content. Like, I learned, or rather observed, how edits work for YouTubers. I watch a lot of gameplays, and after seeing how some of the videos come across and how they are composed and how they use sound effects and whatnot, it was easier to emulate that style and also find my own ish style for editing. So, like, I don't strive for a professional looking videos. I mean, in terms of sound quality, I do want them to sound good. Image quality, yes, as well. Like, that's why I bought these key lights. But I also, in terms of editing, like, I use public domain resources and free videos and sounds, and just like put it all together, because I do like this bad Photoshop style of doing things. I think it kind of reminds me of MySpace. Launching a Flosstube channel was good for me, and also in terms of learning something new for marketing, but also just like building up this visibility of Cross-Stitch Vienna on yet another platform in different format, different medium. And I definitely look forward to continuing with that. Maybe not posting so frequently. That was just one of the things I was thinking about, because I don't stitch fast enough. Well, rather, some of my cross-stitchers, like most of my cross-stitches, they're medium-sized. So that means that in between different Flosstube episodes, like I just have whips, and I like to have a finish to show on video. So maybe I will decrease the frequency of publishing to something more manageable, when I just make sure that I have something solid to show during the Flosstube episode. I don't know how that is going to look like yet, but you'll find out. What happened in December? I published several new charts, Floral, Funeral, which was in fact inspired by Wintertagtraum's advent calendar. So these are the colors that were part of Wintertagtraum's advent calendar, Cross-Stitch advent calendar. And I've decided that I really, really, really loved the pinks and greens together because I don't know, it's so pretty, so freaking pretty. The colors are amazing. Well done, Nora. I don't know what I'm going to do with this cat on fire orangey color, but I will do something. So inspired by these colors, I designed Floral Funeral, which is a very simple skeleton in a coffin on a bed of flowers, cross stitch, but I will definitely be using these threads to stitch it for myself because I want to make a cross stitch project tray using that design and these beautiful hand-dyed threads from Wintertakt Home. Other design that appeared on my website was the broad bean child. It's the green child that sits on a stalk of broad bean, munching on broad beans, and it's been inspired by the story of the green children of Woolpit, which is considering the fact that it's from 12th or 13th century, it's just bonkers because it tells the story of two children, completely green children, that appeared in a village, spoke weird language, only ate broad beans, and eventually assimilated, but the boy and the girl did not ever become part of the village life. So the boy was weaker, I don't know if there's a moral there, and died when the villagers started feeding the kids the regular human food. But the girl survived, learned the language, described the land that she came from, that was completely green, and remained in the village till, I imagine, her death. I read several academic papers on the story of the green children of Woolpit, and most of the researchers agreed that there was some sort of a meaning, because folklore stories tend to have some sort of a lesson teaching moment, some sort of a conclusion that you can relate to and take with you, and I don't know, like don't go to the forest or don't open the door to strangers. But the researchers agreed that the original meaning disappeared, like some just was not documented anywhere for us to be able to understand why these two green children appeared in the village in Suffolk, England. What was the purpose of their visit? I just thought it was an interesting topic of learn about the green children of Woolpit not that long ago, and then I started digging into it, and I thought, you know what, a green baby is all I want. So that's what I designed. It's only, how many colors? It's 3 colors, if I remember correctly. Some hair on here. No, sorry, 4, because there's also white backstitch for the eyes to make the baby extra creepy. And I recommend stitching it on black Aida. I put it in the frame, which I decorated with glow-in-the-dark beads and lace. And I am very proud of this framing. I think it looks really cool. It gives it this like vintage Victorian look because it looks so refined. And it was very easy to do. A bit frustrating because I had to stitch with a tapestry needle, the bent needle, to be able to properly attach the beads. But you know what? When there's the will, there's the way. So. And the second finish that I want to show you today, it's something I was talking about on my Instagram and on my Facebook. because I had created a needle book. The Story of a Needle is a children's book, which you can also read on the Gothenburg Project's website. I don't remember when it was written. I think 16th century or something like that. But it's it's one of these books that give you I don't know, like directions, some lesson learned in each chapter. It's a story about the needle that from birth till ending up in someone's home, and how it observes people and how it interacts with other tools from this sewing kit. It's very cute, and I decided to create like a sampler based on the book, The Story of a Needle, create a decorative cover that I can then use for my own needle book. I've been wanting to create a needle book for a very long time because I have so many needles and not enough magnets to keep them all together, so they were just strewn across my drawer in the crafts cabinet that I have behind me, and they were just messy and just kept in original packaging. They were piling on top of each other. It was very annoying. So I've decided to use up all the spare felt fabric that I had lying around. So this is my needle book. I recently bought some vintage needles from, these are the tapestry needles that I used for stitching the beads on the Broadbean Child's lace framing. So I bought a lot of needles from Anya, because she is selling vintage needles, and she has all the different sizes from like super tiny ones to thicker cross-stitch needles. And I thought, I will have this beautiful needle book where I will be able to keep them safely. One of the things that I was still considering doing was putting some additional fabric in between these felt pages, so the needles don't catch on one another, but it's not proving to be a big annoyance right now. So how it was made. So the book, it's wrapped, I think it's A3 piece of felt fabric that I folded and then covered in this very ornamental, shiny fabric I got from a store in Vienna. Then I secured the fabric with whip stitch, just so it wouldn't come off. It's been glued with hot glue onto the felt fabric, but I didn't want to use too much of the hot glue, so I used just enough that the fabric would stick to the felt cover, and then used whip stitch in the same color as the red ornamental fabric. I attached this hoop to be able to thread the ribbon through it, so I can also close the book if I want to. The ribbon was stitched in between the fabric and the felt that's inside the book, so it's secure. I chose a contrasting ribbon because I thought it matches the cover, the color of the Aida, and it looked nice. The inside pages, so they are attached with a very ugly, irregular stitch. Because it's felt fabric, you can easily stitch it inside, like onto the stitch book. The needle book, and if you want to add more, you can also do it, because again, it's felt. I wanted my needle book to be large, like you can see it's A4, because I don't plan on taking it with me. For my travel cross-stitch kits, I have these like small pouches, plastic pouches, which I would prefer to take with me anyway, because then they protect the tools as well. And attaching the cover was also pretty straightforward. So you know that I have this backing foam that I absolutely love. So I cut a square and attached the washed, ironed needle book cover to the backing foam, secured the excess fabric, then used hot glue to stick the cover onto the book, and added some decorations on the edge. So this carpet-like looking ribbon, I had it in my crafts drawer for a super long time, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And yeah, I just saw it and thought, you know what, it's gonna look super kitschy. So I added it in. And of course beads. So the beads are half glued to the cover and half stitched for security, to be able to well, I can see that actually parts of them came off here because the glue was not hot enough, I think. But that doesn't matter, because like I can reattach that, but also use this polyester thread that I have for making bracelets to make sure that the threads stick to the cover. Yeah. So that's my book. One thing that I forgot to say is that the inside of the cover is this one piece of fabric, felt fabric that I got from, I think, Pagro. And once it's been wrapped in whatever fabric I would have picked for this project, I added a second felt board, A3 felt. So I stitched it together to make sure that you cannot see the edges of the red ornamental fabric that I wrapped the first felt fabric with. I just thought it would be nicer if I cannot tell what's inside the cover, so it looks nice, not just from the outside but also from the inside, minus me not really paying attention when doing this stitch for the inner pages. But you know what, I also didn't really mind that much, because I thought that if I ever notice the felt fabric where the needles are supposed to go onto, like it's weakened, because if I'm going to be sticking needles into it, eventually it will start coming apart. Like I can always replace it. So yeah. So that was how I created this needle book. I hope it made sense. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself properly. So if you have questions about it, please do let me know in the comments. And the last thing that I wanted to show you is what I'm working on right now. If you are a fan of Markiplier, like I am, you probably heard that Iron Lung is going to come to cinemas in January next year. For now, the international release dates are not confirmed. I think Mark, and the last I read on Markiplier subreddit, that he was working on the rating international release papers, because there are different procedures, which I absolutely believe. Plus, it's it's been Christmas, it's been holiday-ish, so people are not working. So I don't know if the European audience will be able to watch Iron Lung in January. But I've decided that I wanted to stitch Iron Lung fan art cross-stitch, which I've had on my website for quite some time, for weeks. And knowing when the news of the Iron Lung movie release came through, I was like, okay, that's it. I need to stitch it because it will be poetic to have this finish when the movie is out. I've said this before, maybe, at least in a social media post, I think, in my Facebook group, maybe. That I really, really admire Markiplier. I think his creativity is limitless, honestly. The guy constantly comes up with amazing ideas to explore different paths. He's not just a YouTuber, he pushes the boundaries of what it means to create content for YouTube, with his Markiplier in Space or the Heist with Markiplier series. He really showed different ways of making YouTube fun, and a lot of work goes into his project. So looking at this fan art is going to really motivate me. He's one of the creators online that I look up to and like watching and enjoy watching his journey. I think I've started watching him during the pandemic. Probably. I started watching a lot of gaming YouTubers during the first months of 2020. I love Dom Plays, Markiplier. I also like Neeps Gaming and their cinematic cuts. Honestly, a lot of creativity goes into their videos, and of course I love playing games, so it's a bonus if I discover a new game. So yeah, so this is almost done. Is it almost done? Have I lied to you today? Let's see, I'm checking Pattern Keeper. I hit 53% yesterday. Oh no, I hit 73% yesterday. I was stitching all day and watching horror movies, so it's 73% done. And I would like to finish it today. I know I wrote in a post in my Facebook group that I'm gonna finish it last night, but it is not so easy, So this is getting finished this weekend. Maybe not today, but this weekend. And I will move on to test stitching the first cross stitch that will be coming out in January. And the first cross stitch of January will be Dark Folklore themed. I'm not telling you anything else about that. Yeah, just wait and see. Other things to tell you. Cross-Stitch Vienna is celebrating 5 years on the 5th of January. I realized that I don't actually make a big deal out of these celebrations because I don't really care that much. I'm just a cross-stitch designer doing my thing. But it is 5 years since the website went live. And to celebrate that, we will be having a Facebook sale event in January. So if you are tier 2, you've done the community quest, you can access a Facebook group, and I will upgrade you manually to tier 2 on the website. That means you will be having access to additional products that I plan to be publishing in January. They are going to be accessible to tier 2 at a much discounted price in January. So if you would like to be part of the January sale, you have to complete the community quest. Which this quest was running, or has been running since the beginning of since the beginning of December, and will be running until the end of January. And the quest is to submit a finish of a Cross-Stitch Vienna chart. Don't send me pictures of other people's designs. Like, what am I gonna do with them? Cross-Stitch Vienna chart. Submit a finish, and you will be admitted. I might be late with admitting people in January because I have a lot to do work-wise. But until I think the end of the first week of January, I'm pretty much hanging out, and then the work craziness, everyone coming back to the office starts. So yeah, don't DM me if I'm not responding to you immediately. I'm already planning to be napping a lot in January. So yeah, that's it. That's my update. I hope you like this floss tube, the last floss tube of 2025. As always, please leave a comment, leave a like. It helps me a lot. It helps other people find me, and it also warms my heart a little bit. See you next time in a Cross-Stitch Vienna floss tube, whenever that's gonna be. I don't know. Who knows? I don't. Bye!